So step 4 is the first step of action in a program of action. And step 4, if we've been following along, is indicated because the power that I lack to live is found deep down inside, but it's been obscured by calamity, by pomp, by worships. So the 4th step is an effort to look inside and get armed with the facts about myself, what I'm like, discover these calamities, pomps, and worships, and examine them for how they've affected my life. The 3rd step decision said being convinced that self manifested in various ways is what had defeated us. Well, it's not enough to intellectually know that. I've got to intuitively know that. So I have to look at how myself manifested through resentments, fears, and relationship misconduct. And so the discovery is not only what I was like, but having encountered this power to go in and sort through and learn the truth, then to walk out in that truth embodied with this sincere desire, this power and purpose to take me to a better place. So the 4-step inventory, although people think it's about learning dirty secrets about themselves, no, it's actually a treasure hunt. It's about seeking out the divine identity, however it's been obscured, and then polishing it up and walking out in that divine identity. Well, the authors are pretty clear, and my experience would indicate that nothing's changed, as most of us have never made an effort to really look inside ourselves and see what our part was in every difficulty we've ever had. And so since most of us have never done it, there's no reason why anyone having never done it should know how to do it. And the whole point of AA's testimony through their book is I've got to learn to ask for help. Initially to another man, but ultimately to my Heavenly Father. Yeah, I think probably at the core of all humans, we like to think we're getting away with stuff. And we'd like to think we're putting our best face forward with people that we want to like us. And the first thing that has to happen is that if I don't show somebody who I really am, the authentic me, what's made me to this point, then they're never going to get an opportunity to really know me, and I'll shortchange both me and them. So what I would encourage people to do is you're really not afraid of the inventory itself or even what it's going to disclose. You're afraid of what I'm going to think about you as a result. And the fact of the matter is, nobody comes to any of us without a past. Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably created more confusion than alignment over the years. But the idea was to separate these various manifestations of self and look at it in each individual relationship. And what you'll eventually do is see a lot of commonality between relationships with people, institutions, principles. You'll see the same manifestation of self defeating you. The same thing that would make me falsely represent myself or my intentions in a relationship that eventually went bad with another human being is the same thing would get me in a job where I had misrepresented myself and I wasn't up to the task of performing the job. So it was the same manifestation of self. It was still me trying to present myself as something I was not. And once I learned that I did that and that people either helped me or they didn't help me, overcome it, or I got dismissed from it, I realized that I had created it, regardless of what the outcome was. And if I wanted to avoid that in the future, I should probably be more intentional about the types of relationships I wanted to enter into with institutions, people, principles. No, I'm 100% in alignment with you. I don't believe for a minute anyone's afraid of writing it down. I think they're afraid of telling somebody. Now, they may be afraid of writing it down because someone will find it, but that's the same thing. I'm still afraid of somebody learning this about me. And the reality is that there's nothing I'm going in there to look at I don't already know is there. And I think the big illusion to all of us is we think that we've got these secrets, but there are no secrets in the realm of the Spirit. Now, if I'm going to walk in the Spirit, then I have to present myself as I am, not as I wish I were, or as I would like for somebody to see me, because I'm going to the creator of all. He already knows. And it's really important that I get to have that dignity of that completely naked in the garden experience with God. Well, the authors give a lot of clues. You know, they talk about leading into the fourth step from the third step, prayer. Next, we launched. So they talk about in all of their flowery promises, we were rocketed into a fourth dimension of existence that we had not even dreamed were possible. If step 3 is the launching pad, then step 4 is the rocket. If you're wanting to get rocketed into a fourth dimension of existence, to know happiness, peace, and usefulness in a way of life that is, progressively more appealing, then you're going to have to overcome your fear of presenting yourself as you are. I mean, I get why people are afraid of it, because we've spent our whole life trying to pretend no one knew who we were, and the only one who didn't know who I was me. What I would say is, if you're delaying and you know you're delaying, then grab someone like me or anyone that's ever worked with me, and we'll sit down and do it with you. Because if you do your 4 and 5 together, you'll come out of it with a 6, 7, 8, and 9. And there isn't any reason that you shouldn't be out making approaches and prosecuting your amends the same day you do your inventory, other than fear. I mean, if you want to get free, then let's get you free. I was making approaches for amends that very first day. I think people tell people whatever based on their own experience. The authors are pretty, next we launched, action and more action. They never said, they didn't write a chapter into thinking so that I could contemplate my way to freedom. They knew I had to walk my way into freedom, that I had to let my mind catch up with my feet, and that somebody needed to help me along. They knew all of these things. They've always known all these things. The idea that sitting in rooms and doing some of those things that have become the basis of fellowship these days, that's just not, it's not real. It's not what the authors intended. Yeah, I mean, the step 4 experience, if you want to know, it gets you a sane and sound ideal for all your future relationships. Sexual, business, professional, whatever. I don't know why any human being does not want to at least do that. I mean, they all write a budget, they all create some career plan. If they want to go to the bank and borrow money, they write a business plan, but nobody wants to get a plan for how they think and emote in order to ensure greater success and happiness. My experience is you start to feel better about yourself on day 1. The authors say we presently live in a new and wonderful world regardless of our present circumstances. That happened to me. I was homeless, abjectly destitute. And I went through the process in a day, and I was never the same. I wasn't housed in a day. I wasn't gainfully employed in a day. I wasn't in loving relationships in a day, but I was absolutely free of all those bonds of worldly oppression that day, and I've never been any less. I mean, I've always progressively been less oppressed.